This is my V8 swap 1973 Toyota Hilux, and this week I'm looking for redemption. Last week I hooked up to my car hauler with my big turbo Corolla on it and intentions of a 1,000-mile road trip. Unfortunately, my transmission gave me some issues 5 hours from home, and I ended up sleeping on the side of the road in Holbrook, Arizona, and waking up to an inch of snow. Now I need to figure out what went wrong and how we're gonna get home. I'm used to pushing things tight, but I think I pushed this one tighter than I should have. You can barely tell there's a transmission cooler on there. I don't love this. I think we'll be okay with what we've got going on. Oh, the irony of choosing the most reliable drivetrain I possibly could just to get stranded with a bad automatic transmission. Damn. We're in Holbrook, Arizona. We slept in the tent because there was not a single hotel that had availability. We then woke up to an inch or so of snow on everything, which sucked. I'm really hoping that this morning we have all of our gears and that the trans was maybe just warm. I'm gonna go try and get a gallon of fluid at least and see if that does anything. This is not an ideal day to be. Oh, come on, cop, don't. I don't know whether to be relieved or upset. Transmission's doing fine now. I think I'm gonna go get a gallon of transmission fluid just in case. But if it does okay, I'm gonna leave the front valence off so that the transmission cooler gets full airflow all the time and see if that gets us home. Trans temperature gauge is going on this thing ASAP. Well, I think this transmission is just freaking fine, which is both infuriating and relieving. It sucks. I pushed so hard to make it, and having the transmission just overheat and go into limp mode, it was kind of a blow. But it is what it is. Here we are. I'm gonna go see what we can do about it. Yeah. Transmission feels fine. It doesn't feel slippy. It doesn't feel like it's missing any gears. I think it just went into limp mode because it got too warm. Oh well. As I ran back home with my tail tucked between my legs, I realized that this thing was having zero issues that it had been having the night before, and we were maintaining 75 or 80 miles an hour while towing in temperatures 15 to 20 degrees warmer than it was last night, just adding to my confusion. We're back to Albuquerque, and just to prove a point, I'm gonna drive up the biggest hill I can find since we don't have the front valence on. Now we're gonna see if we can get this transmission to do what it was doing. The intake is so loud, so incredibly aggressive. I just want to thrash on this thing up the hill. I want it to absolutely be under some bad circumstances and see if it truly was the lack of airflow causing it to get warm or if we've got bigger issues. The engine was getting 205, 207 of this exact hill we're going up when the front valence was on, before the transmission cooler, and now we're at 199 up this hill, towing with more load. We've got a ton of tools with us. We've got the full-size spare back there. I mean, I absolutely loaded this thing down, and it won't get over 201. That front valence is getting poked holes in it like Swiss cheese. I don't even care anymore. What? It's kind of incredibly frustrating to have an issue like this where it took me less than 5 minutes to pull that front valence off, and if I would have known it was causing this many issues, I'd have been able to fix it. But in order to know it was causing issues with the trans, I would have had to have load on the transmission for 4 hours or 250 miles, which can't happen until I do something like this. So incredibly frustrating that this was the learning experience, but it is what it is. You got to take things with stride, and now I know. I think if we get some better cooling up in the front of this thing, honestly, we were cruising 75, almost 80 miles an hour on the highway for hours. It's a decent tow rig. It didn't quite go as I wanted it to go, but the first outing with the Hilux could have gone a lot worse. It made it home with the Corolla and the trailer. We didn't really have many issues on the drive home. I did notice that the temperatures without the front valence were about 5 to 7 degrees cooler with the radiator, so I'm assuming the transmission was the same. I don't know for sure. I'm gonna get a real transmission gauge on this thing, a transmission temperature gauge, so I can monitor everything from the cab and know what's going on. I think that's what happened. I don't know. The AT temp light never came on. I never had any issues like that. It's both frustrating and relieving that it just was fine the next day. So we'll have to figure out what's going on there. We do have another pretty long trip planned in the very near future, and we're gonna see if we can get it about 1,000 miles round trip. It's actually about 1,100 miles round trip on this other trip, but we won't be towing, so I think that will help the transmission quite a bit. We got 12 to 13 miles to the gallon when I was running easy. When I was running pretty hard, about 75 to 80 when in 75 zone, well, we got down to about 6.5 miles to the gallon for one of those stretches. Pretty bad. I don't know. It is what it is. We're gonna go ahead, unload the Corolla, get the Hilux ready. We're gonna get some ventilation in through that front valence. Oh my God. We kept smelling a weird smell and we couldn't figure out what it was. This is the bracket for the factory jack. Oh, that's hot. It melted the bag, and the carpet right there is kind of getting toasty. Heat shielding for this catalytic converter. Noted. Very essential. Oh my gosh. Is my seat as bad? I think mine's worse up front because my cat's further forward. Yeah, right here is hot. Yeah, and my cat's right there. Oh, actually, you know what's under right there? My 2-to-1, because your cat's further forward. Yeah. Okay, so like this is hot, but it's not, this is not melt stuff hot. Okay. I guess we might need a less restrictive 2-to-1 or something, because that's not good. The snow and rain and everything were not super nice to the Corolla. That's for sure. So I locked it when we were on the side of the road. Oh no. The key's not working in the door. I didn't check. Oh. As you can see, the door would lock, but I could not get it to unlock, and I did not want to break a key off in the door. Oh my goodness, I'm so stressed. So I didn't have much of an option.
Here we just got completely locked out. Both doors locked. Didn't have a key to unlock them from the door. So we had to try a couple different options. Steel hanger, some tape, some filler rod. That did the trick. Now both doors unlock. Back in its spot it goes. To be driven another day. Once injectors are had.
Took quite a bit of fiddling, but we got the door unlocked. Got the Corolla unloaded, parked back in its spot. We can now get the trailer stashed in the backyard. I just want to get my yard cleaned up a little bit. Feels good to be home. I am glad I spent the time to put the fenders on the trailer. This trailer's still kind of a pile, but now it's a pile that looks better. Oh. Is that the good scratches you need, Tucker? I think this thing needs more airflow than the valence was providing. It covers quite a bit. I mean, with the valence there, it covered pretty much the entire transmission cooler, but also behind that, that's radiator. And this lower one also covers a bit of radiator. So today we're gonna be assessing this, trying to get this fixed. This is gonna be horrible as we cut holes in it because there is so much Bondo. And I'm gonna be sad when it looks kind of bad, but I'm hoping to get a bunch of holes all the way across this thing to let a ton of airflow in, and I'm hoping that's gonna solve all of our issues. I think I'm gonna try and install a transmission temperature gauge. I don't know where I'm gonna be able to install it in line in terms of like where in the system I'll be able to install it, because it's not really a system designed for it. I don't really want to tap the pan. The transmission temperature light never came on. There was never any issues like that. I don't even honestly know if it got hot or if the truck just got mad. Honestly, I can't complain too much. It did get us home, but I didn't make it. I'm really kind of salty about that one. So, it is what it is. Live and learn. I guess the part that really makes me sad was the very hard week of work I put into this and the Corolla and the trailer before we left. And I didn't get to film as much of it as I wanted to because I was pushing so hard for the event, and then not making the event kinda stinks. Did this valence cause my transmission to overheat bad enough to leave me stranded 250 miles from home? Let's find out. I'm gonna poke a bunch of holes in it and see what the engine and transmission temps do before and after. I'm on my way to go hopefully get some dimpled eyes and holes in the front valence and see if that helps with our transmission and engine temps. I don't think it's gonna hurt. More airflow is definitely better than less, and I think some dimpled eyes will look good. Then if I need to for like rocks or protection or anything like that, I could put mesh in there, but honestly I'm not super worried about that. It is a concern I've had, but more than anything, I'm worried about making sure I have adequate airflow so that this thing is cooling the engine and transmission the way it needs to, especially when we're doing things like towing. We're not towing right now, but this thing should be able to tow 3,500 pounds, no problem. Look at this, we've got a dimple die. 1 3/4 is the size that we can fit the entire die without super deforming the grill. So that's what we're going with, because the next size up is, well, like double the size. Now we got to drill some holes. I marked everything out. All of these are properly spaced. Got the lines there for the spacing up and down. I'm going to start with 2 on either side and see what the spacing looks like against each other. And if it doesn't look horrible, we'll send it with the rest. Let's turn this front valence into some Swiss cheese. I want to get some adequate airflow in here to get this thing cooling the way it needs to. So I'm going to start by drilling about 4 holes on both sides, see how that lines up, dimple die everything, and go from there and see what everything looks like. I was kind of astounded at how perfectly I covered the entirety of the transmission cooler. Before too long, I was done drilling all of the holes in it, and it was time to get it dimple dyed, which was a super satisfying process. Look at this thing. It looks so much better. I went ahead and I kind of straightened out a little bit of the metalwork just because I had it in there. I'm very happy with how that looks. Now we got to get it on. Look at that. Valence back on, speed holes in it. Pretty well straightened out. And I went ahead and flattened this all the way across, trying to get it to rub less. It's still rubbing a little bit. These dimple die holes actually straightened this whole piece out quite a bit, and I had it kind of arched. Is what it is. I'm really stoked that there's gonna be airflow. We went from that much to 5 1 3/4 holes. It cannot hurt the airflow. It can't. I've got the tent popped to get it dried out and hopefully completely moisture free from our last adventure on the side of the road in Holbrook, Arizona. And actually it's less than a week later. We're turning around and I'm about to go hit the road. We're driving a little over 8.5 hours to Hurricane, Utah for Matt's Off-Road Recovery Games. My brother's up there, Elevated Fab Works. I'm gonna go hang out, see everybody, see the show. It should be really fun. And we're gonna be taking the Hilux. So we didn't make it the 8 hours to Arizona. So instead we're gonna go 8 hours to Utah. Makes no sense, but at least this time we're not towing, and we went ahead and got these holes in the valence. This is a ton more airflow. I did the calculations. Each of these holes is actually about 100 CFM at 70 miles an hour, which is quite a bit of air. 100 cubic feet a minute at 70 miles an hour, which means we would have had at least 500 CFM of air going through that cooler and the radiator if we would have had these holes in there. Not to mention the amount of airflow that would have gone through here and here. It's just all around, this is gonna be a ton better, and I think that's gonna help everything, including engine temps. We got a few things we need to wrap up before we leave though. One of the most important things is the exhaust. Far from perfect, but we got some heat wrap around this thing. It's kind of hard with the collector there. I think this will help get the heat at least past the cap. I'm gonna get some heat shield under here as well, but for now, I think this will help a ton. I think we're about ready to hit the road. We've got the bed completely jam-packed full of stuff. We've got all the tools again. We've got fluids, we've got spare supplies, we've got electrical, water, food, camping gear, we've got clothes and stuff in here. This one is gonna be a solo trip, unfortunately. Hopefully everything goes good. I bet we get a bit better gas mileage not towing a trailer, so this one should be a little bit better for in between gas stops. And just like that, less than a week after getting stranded 5 hours from home in the middle of Arizona, I hit the road again into the night, into the desert, with hopes of getting 10 hours away by morning. And before long, I was hitting some dirt, pulling off the road to find a spot to camp, because by golly, me and the Hilux made it. I drove all the way through the night, but we have finally made it. That is, I believe, St. George, Utah. Sand Hollow is that way, I think. I don't know. I just got into town. I honestly don't know where anything's at, but I do know that it's about 5 a.m. I didn't sleep last night, and I'm gonna get everything set up to crash out in the tent. Got the tent set up with St. George in the background. This is awesome. Woo-wee. Hilux looks good this morning. I slept really good. We only got about 2.5 hours of sleep, but it's already bright and early. The off-road games are starting, and I need to get down there before it gets too crazy, so hopefully I can get in and get a decent parking job. So we're about to start breaking down camp and getting things ready to hit the road. Honestly, Utah is so gorgeous. Like, what? Got the tent all put away. We're just about ready to hit the road and hopefully make it to the off-road games before it gets too late. It's already like 8, I think things start at 9, so better get a move on. One of my favorite things about Utah is how much camping there is, and usually you can find a spot right off the highway that's pretty secluded. We're down in this little valley now, and there's even more hot air balloons. There's that big old guy there, and another one going up right there. That's super cool, I think. Just like that, I was at the off-road games getting shuttled to go meet up with Elevated Fabworks and the crew. Oh, there they are! Whoa! Yeah! Thank you so much, sir! No problem. Appreciate it. The off-road games first day was awesome with a ton of really cool rigs, a ton of really cool people, and honestly, an awesome part of Utah I had never been to. Think it's gonna actually do it? Something smells warm. It must have like a clutch center diff, dude. It smells like a clutch. Got a decent camping spot that's kinda in the middle of nowhere. I had to pass about 150 campers between fifth wheels, slide-in campers, and tent campers to get to a nice secluded spot. But I finally found one, and it feels good. I'm actually really excited to not be camping next to 100,000 people, and I'm also really excited not to be camping at 5 in the morning, planning on getting up at 7 in the morning. All right, I think we've got a pretty rad little camp spot again last night. It took me a minute to find one that didn't have a ton of people, and even so, I've still got some neighbors over there and some neighbors over there, and there's a little bit of noise last night, but it wasn't too bad overall. I'm stoked. The Hilux is doing amazing. I am honestly so thrilled with the Hilux, 10 out of 10. But it's getting later in the day. It's already like 7:15, 7:20. We gotta get to the booth early. Elevated Fabworks, Patrick is planning on taking the Sunraider out and going wheeling today. So we're gonna try and get the Hilux into the booth in the Matt's Off-Road Recovery Games, which would be awesome. I can't wait to show this thing off. So let's get going. Camping out of the Hilux over the last few days has really highlighted why I built this truck the way I did. I wanted a vehicle that was capable off-road, capable on-road, comfortable, and I could live and camp out of for a long period of time while still using it as a truck, because I do have all of my camp gear, all of my tools, and more in the bed. Dang. Got the Hilux in. Did not film much because I don't care to film at events. I'd rather talk to people than talk to a camera, but I'm really enjoying the off-road games. The Hilux did awesome and I'm stoked about that. People love it, but time to get this thing out of here. 3, 2. Like I said, I didn't film a ton of the off-road games, but here are some things that I thought were pretty cool. Seeing the off-road wrecker, seeing some of the other wreckers involved, and just seeing all of the creators that came here for this event is really cool. I think we're gonna have to come back next year, bring some more of our rigs, and meet some more of you guys, because it was a blast. I think this just about wraps up the Hilux at Sand Hollow. This was awesome. Matt's Off-Road Recovery Games was great. And honestly, I'm definitely gonna need to come back to this area. I've never wheeled anything quite like this. There is like soft stand next to a lake with like rock crawling right across the street. It's insane. I've had a blast. Again, I didn't want to film a ton here. I much prefer interacting with people and actually having like a personal connection when I'm here face to face, and throwing a camera in people's faces just doesn't feel right to me. All in all, I am very happy with how the Hilux is done. I'm gonna see how we do on the way home. We got about 10 hours. So it's time to hit the road. We're gonna get our last few beauty shots, get things rolling, and get this thing out of Sand Hollow. I wanna take the scenic route, so we're gonna go ahead and take this thing through the dunes, a little bit of crawling, and have some fun because we're here and we might as well. I don't wanna go too hard though, because like I said, a 10-hour, over 500-mile drive home makes me a little timid to break this thing. With only about 2,000 miles on the swap before I came out here to Sand Hollow, I didn't have a ton of off-roading in this rig, and I'm honestly very impressed with how well it's doing. My fenders are not happy. I have definitely contacted all 4 of my fenders with tires, which I'm sure my tires love and I'm sure my fenders love. Whatever. One of the things I've been putting off since I built this thing is properly clearancing the fenders front and rear for these tires. I need to take the shocks out, fully articulate the suspension, and turn the steering left to right and clearance everything that rubs. That way when we're off-roading, I don't have to worry about it. I do enjoy having the V8, but just like that, we're disengaging four-wheel drive and hitting the road. Oh my goodness. What a view! What a rig. I am so pleased with how this thing is doing. We're currently just outside Grand Canyon National Park. We're on the other side of the Grand Canyon itself. We're finally getting back down the mountain. We climbed from like 4,000 feet or whatever Hurricane is, all the way up to 8,000 feet, and we're going back down now. You can see out there, there's a long straight road we're about to hit. It's about to get boring, it's about to get dark, but we're on our way home, and hopefully this time we can make it before 5 a.m. The off-road games was absolutely awesome. The Hilux is doing amazing, and I'm gonna hit the road again. Here is the Colorado River. Whoa, this is a big canyon. It's a rather grand canyon, if you might say so. I know, that joke was cringe, but we're passing by the Grand Canyon again. Last time we did this, it was dark. And I think it was further north because we did take a different route into Sand Hollow and Hurricane than we're taking home. That was mainly just because maps said it was the fastest at the time. I don't know. There was a snowstorm that came through, I guess, or I don't know. Maybe there was a wreck, or who knows, but maps told me to take a different way. So we've taken a completely different way this time. We got in with the Hilux last night about 2 in the morning. And once we got home, I cleaned up, got everything settled down, and at about 2:30, 2:45 in the morning, I realized that today, Sunday, I got back last night, Saturday night at 2 in the morning, or Sunday morning, 2 in the morning. And today, Sunday morning at 9, there is a Yodas and Coffee, the local monthly Toyota meetup in Albuquerque, New Mexico that I just can't miss. So we're unloading the Hilux so we can make it out there. I'm stoked. I even think we're gonna hook up to the trailer and grab the Corolla because why not? All right, we've got the trailer hooked up, ready to go. Now we gotta go get the Corolla and get it loaded up. Corolla doesn't love cold starts. So hopefully the battery's doing decent so it actually has enough juice to fire up. It started, let's go get this thing on the trailer. We're running behind, mainly because I should have been doing this yesterday, but yesterday I was 10 hours and 550 miles away from home. Now we've got the Corolla loaded up, it's strapped down, everything should be good to go. Cars and Coffee starts at 9, it is 8:37. So we're running a tad bit late, but I just wanted to do something cool, and I could have just made it in the Hilux, but it's a lot more fun to push yourself a little harder, try and get a little more stuff done, and bring another cool car to that Cars and Coffee. So let's hit the road. And we made it to the Cars and Coffee, where I found the coolest Toyota Land Cruiser I could have possibly imagined seeing here. I thought I was going to be the only 2UZ swapped Toyota truck here, but it turns out this 1965 Toyota FJ45 has the running gear from a 100 series Land Cruiser, including the engine and transmission. With 80 series Land Cruiser axles underneath it, this thing is a full Land Cruiser and absolutely legendary. Cars and Coffee was a success. I am absolutely drained. As we were loading the Corolla onto the trailer, we actually had a police officer show up. Buddy of mine was there, and I have two-step, so I used two-step, and then, well, I decided I was gonna load up and leave very quietly, efficiently, and quickly. So that's what we did. We're about to head home. Hopefully we have, I mean, we're heading home. That's it. It was a success. That Land Cruiser is so sick. I can't believe that thing was there. The guy didn't really want to be on camera. He explained to me the whole thing. It is so freaking rad, and I cannot wait. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Land Cruiser, rad. Me, tired. That's it for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Really hope to catch you on the next one. I'm enjoying how this truck's coming out. What would you do to it next? Let me know.